once you create the capacity to feel any emotion, there's nothing that's too scary. Welcome to the Connect Method Parenting Podcast, where correction is out, connection is in, and your kids want to listen to you. I'm Andy Martineau, creator of Connect Method Parenting, here to help you stay calm, confident, and connected no matter what. Yo, everybody, welcome back. I cannot wait to talk to you about Connect Method Parenting today and the topic of getting versus giving attention. I'm so glad you're here. Happy Thanksgiving week if you're in the States. If you are celebrating Thanksgiving in the way my family always celebrates Thanksgiving, you're going to be around a lot of family and your kids are going to be home for a few days. So there's some interesting dynamics happening this week. And as I was thinking about what I wanted to talk to you all about, the topic of getting versus giving attention came up super strong for me. And it's a difference that is important to look at. So we're going to dive into that today. Quick favor before we dive in though, if you've been liking the podcast and would take a second, you can probably do it right now as you're listening to this episode. Just pop into the player and leave a little review. I'd be so grateful. Okay, so let's talk about the difference between getting versus giving attention. And we're going to do this in the context of Connect Method Parenting. There's lots of ways you could look at this topic. But when I was thinking about attention in the context of parenting, it became very clear to me that getting attention versus giving attention is very different. So getting attention is when we feel dependent on our kids to listen to us. We want them to not push back. We want them to show up in a positive way. We want them to be in an emotionally good place, which gives us lots of attention and leaves us feeling validated as a parent. Versus giving attention is where we are dialed in and our attention is focused on showing up for our kids regardless of what they give us or don't give us back. So we don't need that external validation of them listening to us or doing their chores right away or their homework right away to feel good. Sure, we want them to listen to us. We want them to respond in a positive way, but we don't need them to listen to us or respond in a positive way to feel confident and compassionate and patient towards them. We don't need that external validation from our kids because we are getting that validation by giving it to ourselves. Now, the addiction to getting attention from our kids is something that many of us don't realize we have. I don't think any of the parents I worked with would present themselves to me and say, "Hey, Andy, I'm addicted to getting attention from my kids." Most of us are not choosing this consciously. And I know for so many years, I had this attention-seeking mentality myself. And of course, I didn't realize it. I didn't know what I was doing. Me, attention-seeking from my kids seemed crazy. That reminds me of that movie, The Princess Bride. Have you all seen it? If not, super cute movie. Old, classic, so good. There's this line in it where one of the characters says, "Inconceivable." He says it many times. Stands out to me from the movie. It's something we laugh about all the time, but that's kind of what it would feel like if I were to go back in time and think that I was attention seeking for my kids would be inconceivable. Yet, as I look back in hindsight, it's crystal clear that that's what I was after. But I didn't realize it, but I totally did it. And so I'm going to describe what it looks like if someone is in this getting attention cycle in their life as a parent, especially. We're going to talk about what does that look like and why is it a problem. I'm going to do this so that you can have a look and maybe see if you have this cycle, this tendency going on in your own life. Now, be warned, if I start to describe this and you're thinking, well, oh goodness, I have this. You probably have it for a really good reason. My guess is that your nervous system at some point along the way decided that getting attention from other people was safe, was important, and needed, maybe even vital to survival. Because it's likely that getting attention from your friends and from your parents and from your grandparents and from your neighbor, whoever it was that was important to you, those vital relationships that especially in a younger child's body are vital. They're instinctual for survival. We know that we need help from other people when we're young to survive. And so we need those connections. So we need attention from other people to validate us, to say, hey, you are good. We are here for you. We love you. And it makes sense. However, the thing that we needed when we were kids, that was adaptive in the moment, that was needed in the moment, as we grow up and we don't have those same kinds of relationships where we're not the dependent and have a leader, when we don't need an adult to take care of us, we might want a partner to help us and support us in our life. We don't need their validation to survive in the same way we did as a kid. So that adaptive process that our nervous system created for ourselves when we were younger becomes maladaptive as we get older and can become problematic when we start using this tendency we have, this need, this drive that we had when we were younger to seek validation, which really fundamentally was seeking reassurance that the relationships were solid, because relationships are essential to our survival. But now we're not dependent on getting attention, and we definitely don't want to be put in a place where we are dependent on our children to validate our worthiness and our acceptance and our legitimacy to what we are doing and how we are being, and deciding based on our kids' behavior, are we a good parent? Are we showing up the way we want to? Or I need their constant attention to help me feel a certain way. So the main way that I see the getting attention mentality showing up is when parents feel helpless. They feel hopeless about what's going on with their child. They're not satisfied with the results they're getting, and they don't have full awareness of why things aren't turning out the way they want to. So they don't see it, but they're showing up really needy or graspy, really desperate, because they subconsciously want their kids to act a certain way so that they feel better. So they're seeking a certain type of attention from their kids to validate their competency as a parent, which puts the dynamic in a very precarious place. They need their kids to give them the right kind of reassurance, something like, hey, mom, you're doing a great job, kind of attention. But they don't say it in those words. They say it by how they behave. And so the parents getting the attention and deciding, if they're getting enough of the kind of attention they want based on what their kids are doing to validate they're doing a good job, because they aren't sure if they're doing a good job. Most likely they doubt they're doing a good job, which I get because this is where I come from. We want to be good parents for our kids, but when a parent needs their kids to behave in a certain way so they can feel good, when they need this needy attention from the kids, that's when things get a little complicated or a lot complicated. So this is when we start measuring how we're doing based on the kind of attention we're getting from our kids. So we want lots of good behavior attention. We want lots of them appreciating us attention. We want lots of good behavior, them listening, doing homework, going to bed without a fight. And when they do that, we feel good because that's good attention. That's powerful. That feels really reassuring. If it's off-track behavior, the teenager has a bad attitude, the toddler has a meltdown, bedtime is going south big time, then the kids aren't giving us this adoring fan kind of attention that we so desperately want. And we can think, so many things about ourselves and about our kids when we're not feeling like the attention or the way our kids are acting in response to us is what we're registering as a win. And I was thinking about this, we're here traveling full time with my 3 girls who are 22, 16, and 17. And so, we're with each other 24/7. And it's super fun to get glimpses into their life in different areas that I've seen all along the way, as they've been growing up, but we're just with each other so much more. I'm seeing and having more conversations about social media with them. So fascinating. But the point I want to make here is it's interesting when they're making comments about views and likes, and whether it's, hey, I didn't get enough views or likes, or this post didn't get a lot of views or likes, or my friend's post didn't get a lot of views or likes. There's so much energy around how much attention people are getting for doing stuff, or how little attention people are getting for doing stuff. And we can kind of look at that and say, why does it even matter? It's so easy for us when we're moved away from the situation to think, why do you care if all of your friends like your post or not? The funny thing is a lot of times that's the kind of needy energy we have when we need our kids' attention and their figurative, likes or views to feel validated. It's very similar energy. It's needy, it's graspy, it feels icky. And we can see it so clearly one step removed with people talking about how many followers they have or don't have and likes and whatever the case may be, but then not see it in ourselves, not see how we are in a similar way showing up with this need for our kids' validation, for their likes, for their views. Are they willing to watch us? Are they willing to pay attention to us? Are they willing to agree with us? It's likes and views. So think about this for a moment. What do you make it mean when your kids give you negative attention? And then what do you make it mean when your kids give you positive attention, and why? What would your life be like if you didn't need your kids to give you a certain type of attention to feel a certain way? Wouldn't that be amazing to not be needing that, to be removed from that, and to feel independence from that? The more I've thought about this, the more I've realized how important it is for us to be aware of this attention cycle that we're in. Better said, the type of attention cycle we're in. Are we in a, hey, I need to get attention from my kids? Or am I in a giving attention from our kids? Because they're very, very different. So let's go on a little journey and explore giving attention. So I heard an actor once say that when he's on set and the director says, and it's not these words, I couldn't remember what he said, but it's like cameras rolling, something, but ready, set, action is what I kind of visualize in my head with the little, I don't know what they call it, the little board that they shut the top to the bottom and makes a little clapping sound. And everybody on set knows it is action. We are focused. We are giving our full attention. We're dialed in, and magic happens. When I think about parenting, I think about the moments in time where I have been so focused, dialed in, ready to be present with my kids. And I can compare it to moments where I'm just going through the motions. I'm distracted. I'm preoccupied. I'm not wanting to be there. I have something else I want to do. The quality of the attention that I give is dramatically different based on how I am showing up to give the attention. And this idea of being present, having high speed attention, or I like to say connection with our kids, and both words will work in this exploration of attention, this focused energy, the times where I'm that way versus the times where I'm just, putting in my time, very different results, very, very, very different. And I am not saying, to clarify, I'm not saying that you become enmeshed with your kids, that you don't do anything but dial in and be totally present with your kids. I'm not saying that at all. We need to do other things. It's important to do other things. I think it helps our kids and inspires our kids when they see us pursuing things that are important to us. So I don't think our whole world has to be focused with this attention I'm describing, 100% of the time with the kids. But what I am saying is that when I am showing up as a parent, when I am in that role, and that is what I've decided to do for that period of time, am I giving my attention? Am I trying to get my kids' attention in that needy, graspy way? Or am I just kind of phoning it in and present in body, but completely checked out emotionally? So when I think about how I want to be with my kids, I think about that fiber, high-speed internet connection that, you can get if you're lucky. The place we're staying at right now has not great internet. It's been really challenging. And at home in our cabin in the woods, we have decent, it's not high speed, but when I get to a place with high speed connection, it's incredible how fast that stuff works. Like things are downloading and uploading and streaming and all of the things. It's just mind blowing. And that is the kind of experience I want my kids to have when I'm with them. Mind blowing. I want them to feel as though there is nothing more important than me being there with them, that I'm not thinking about anything else, that they are the thing that I have chosen to put all of my attention on in that moment. Just like an actor, if they're trying to go through the script, it's probably not what they would call it, when they're trying to do a scene, right? And they're just phoning it in. They're just half present. They're thinking about what they're going to do after, they do their filming for the day. It's not going to be a very good take. So I want to bring the best version of me to the times where I am with my kids. And then I also want to bring the best version of me when I'm doing something else. So right now I'm recording a podcast for you all. And I'm 100% present here. I just walked away from my kids doing some things. That sounded funny. I just walked away from them, meaning I just, was spending time with them. I went and got lunch with my daughter. She wanted some pasta. We walked to this cute little shop across the street. We had a great conversation. I helped her write an essay that she's doing for her online school. Present, totally there. And then we finished the essay and I said, okay, I'm going to go record my podcast episode now. So the three girls are doing things. I think Becca, who I was working with her on the essay, is watching Friends because she needed a break. And my oldest was reading a book, and my 17-year-old was doing some research about social media marketing. She's helping me out with my social media. She's killing it. I think we're starting a new Instagram page because my other one was just bad. So she's just doing all of this stuff. So anyway, so they're all busy doing their thing, and I'm able to step away and be 100% present here, knowing that when it's time for me to go back and be a mom and be dialed in, and if we're going to go, I think we're going to go walk to a couple of places this afternoon. We have a few more days here in Rome, so we're trying to get our last few places that we want to see done. So we'll do that later today. So I'll go do that, and I'll be 100% present then with them. So this idea of giving attention, I'm talking about it in the context really specifically of parenting here, but it applies to all areas of our life. So I don't want to just give high speed attention, and I would say good attention. When I'm using this word attention, I mean like focused, good, juicy, compassionate, loving connection attention. I'm not just going to give it when I feel like everything's going great. I want to give it regardless of how things are going. And it's funny because as I was prepping to record this today, I was doing my final outline and actually planned to record it earlier today. And then my 16-year-old came in and she was struggling with this essay. Online school has been really a whole different experience for her. She really is such a people person, loves going to school physically. And so it hasn't been her favorite thing to do online school. And she was needing some help with this essay. So it was really good timing, actually, because I'm here writing about being, completely attentive and giving my attention to my child. And she comes in clearly needing attention, clearly needing connection. And I was just reminded of how powerful it is because I stepped away and helped her with some of the emotions she was feeling. And then we went and took a little walk outside, which is really helpful if you're feeling a lot of emotions. And I was just 100% there with her. We went and found this great pasta place. She loves pasta here. And so, all of the things I just described, 100% attention. And I stepped away and I thought, oh, this is so perfect. The timing is so perfect. It's a great reminder to me of how powerful this is because it's so easy. And I have done this. I'm not sharing this example to try to make it sound like every time, my child needs me, I'm always able to just flip my attention to them because I can sense that that's what they need right then is some of my undivided, juicy, connective attention. I get it right more than I used to, but I'm still not perfect. So I'm not putting myself on any kind of pedestal here. But it was so cool to have this happen today because I really had to make a deliberate choice to say, yeah, I would plan to spend this amount of time prepping and recording my podcast. I have to cut that off. I'm choosing to cut that off. I don't have to. I'm choosing to cut that off. And I'm going to go do this other thing. And I'm going to be challenging myself the whole time I'm spending time with her, helping her process her emotions, going out and getting some food for her because she was really hungry, helping her work on her essay, to be 100% dialed in, to not have any hesitation, to not be distracted, to not be resentful, to not be frustrated. And that's what's available for all of us. That is what is possible when we're thinking about who we want to be as a parent. And what's fascinating is our kids do this and we do it too. Let's be honest. We all do this as humans. We have people in our life, quote unquote life, because they're, very far removed, but, people who are influential to us, whether they are a historical figure, a movie star, a singer, a person who's done a lot of great work, humanitarian work, maybe discoveries in science, who we really feel deeply connected to. And they don't know us at all. And they won't ever know us at all. And this one way, I want you to think of it as one way connection. The way we have a connection with a movie star or a singer or a sports hero or whoever it is, this relationship, this attention we can give someone who doesn't even know us. I want you to think about that because sometimes it will feel like that with our kids. All those girls who are at a Taylor Swift concert and are just so present, so attentive to Taylor Swift. And Taylor Swift doesn't know who they are, will never know who they are. And in a beautiful way, you could say Taylor Swift is also giving her undivided attention to the crowd, sending it out, being present, giving them her all, and not knowing exactly the experience they're having. For sure she gets the cheers, and so there's some, feedback she gets. But I want you to think about what it's like for the girls in the stands who are giving all of this attention to Taylor Swift or whoever it would be. It could be anybody. And the power of the one-way connection, the power of the one-way attention. Sometimes as parents, we get confused thinking, oh, this isn't worth it, or I need reciprocal attention. I give it to the kids, they give it back, or I'm not getting any attention from the kids, so it's not worth it. And I want to challenge that. I want you to challenge that for yourself, because if you're so focused on what you're getting back, again, going back to getting attention versus giving the attention, it changes the experience. So if we can just focus on giving our attention, giving our connection, giving our presence to our kids, they will feel that. And when I say this, I want you to think about giving your attention to your kids. If they're playing Legos, you are down playing Legos with them, like their best friend would be playing with them. That's the kind of energy and focus and attention I want you to think about giving your child, giving them the attention that their best friend would give them. Now, I'm not saying you act like their best friend, like their peer, but the same attention, focus, that's what I would love for every one of us to do. So if you can give your attention to your child without needing to get any attention back, and you are not basing it on their behavior or their reaction, and you don't need them to act a certain way for you to give attention or for you to show up a certain way. Sure, you could want them to do their chores, to be nice, but you're not withdrawing your attention and your connection from them based on their behavior. You're going to create an amazing relationship with your child, and you're not condoning their behavior. I'm not saying condoning behavior by giving attention. I'm saying you are building an unbreakable trust with them that you are on their team regardless, and that you will be there no matter what they do. You're also building your emotional maturity and resilience, because the more you're capable of holding strong to your connection, holding strong to the way you're able to give attention to your child, regardless of what they're doing, will require an immense amount of emotional maturity, because your capacity to handle yourself when your child's quote unquote misbehaving will have to grow. Otherwise, you're going to get so triggered by their behavior that you're going to go into an emotional cycle yourself. Your nervous system will get activated and you'll be spinning there. So once you create the capacity to feel any emotion, there's nothing that's too scary. Because the reason why something is quote unquote scary is because you don't want to feel the emotion behind it, the disappointment, the frustration, the fear. But if you're willing to feel the fear or the disappointment when your kids don't do what you were hoping, if you're willing to hear that feedback from yourself, from your child, if you're willing to feel any emotion that comes up, then you have the ability to create anything you want. This is your strength. This is your strength. And it's something that we have to grow into and intentionally create for ourselves. Knowing that when an emotion comes up, that we can feel it all the way through, that we can identify the thought patterns that are causing it, that we can take 100% responsibility for how we feel. We don't need our kids to act a certain way for us to feel compassionate, to feel confident, to feel calm, to stay connected, to continue to give our loving attention towards them, regardless of what they're doing. When we do this, our nervous system stays calm and we're able to come alongside the emotion. We're able to help them get to a better place because we are already in a better place. And if one of our primary drives as humans is to feel close relationships with those we care most about, and you as a parent can show up consistently, giving your child really beautiful attention that is fueled by connection and love and compassion, then your child is getting set up to handle whatever might come his way or her way, to grow in emotional maturity, to have a closeness with you that helps ensure and magnify your impact and influence with them so they choose you to be their parent. You guys, this is so important. The difference between needing to get a certain type of attention from our kids, needy, graspy, you just can feel it when you have a friend call you. You know that they're calling you because they want to get something from you. They want to get a recommendation. They want you to tell them about that job that's opening at work. They want you to something. They want you to give them a ride somewhere. And it's not that any of that's bad. I love that we get to help our fellow humans out in so many ways, but it feels inauthentic if that is the only, or not the only, that's too extreme. If that's a primary driver for why they're reaching out. What feels way better is to have someone who we know loves us and is giving us their time and their attention and their connection and their love regardless. And that's where we want to be, you all. That is where we want to be, is in the position where we can give attention to our kids when they need it most, when they interrupt something, when they cause a disruption in the flow of how the plan is going that you wanted to execute that day. That is where the sweetness is. That is where the relationships are built and become solid. So give your kids your undivided attention when it is time to give them your undivided attention, when you have decided to spend time with them. Show up for them. And if they interrupt a different time of day that you weren't planning on giving them that undivided, juicy, beautiful connection, that beautiful attention that you have for them, but you can tell that what they need right now is help. They need reassurance that everything's okay in the relationship. They need help navigating something that's really tricky. If you are able to, in that moment, I say pivot, change the plans, and go give them that. Give them that attention that their nervous system wants and needs to feel safe. Because whatever is causing them to come interrupt you, causing maybe the disruption in the home, them saying something to a sibling, them coming and complaining about something or being overwhelmed and getting really emotional with you and talking about school or whatever it might be, that thing is just information that there's something inside of them that needs some loving, kind, compassionate, connective attention from you. So if you can go give them that, and maybe you can't that very moment, maybe you have something cooking on the stove and you can't leave that very moment, but if you can segue out of what you're doing into that as soon as you can, as soon as it makes sense, I would recommend you do it. Because when we can give our kids beautiful connection that is free of any ulterior motive, free of any resentment, free of any resistance, free of any just ambivalence, I'm just kind of here, but kind of not here. When we can give them the kind of attention that's focused, that's real, that feels so reassuring to their nervous system, that is what will help set everyone up for success. When you can offer this to them, you grow in your capacity as a parent to show up compassionate and kind and loving no matter what they're doing. And when they receive this from you, they grow in their capacity to believe in themselves, to believe that they are worth someone's time. And there's so many secondary gains that come from this, them being able to feel safe to feel their emotions, them having the confidence after working through something that's challenging and feeling better about that because we've come alongside them. So many things, you all, so many things. So let's wrap this up. Let's tie this episode up. Remember, you all, you don't want to be needy and graspy and trying to get your kids to behave a certain way. That's trying to get a certain attention from them. It's not going to feel good to you, and it's not going to feel good to them either. What you want to do is give your attention freely and fully. That is what's going to create the results you want in your life. Okay, you all, have a beautiful rest of your week, and we'll talk to you all soon. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, come check out League, my Connect Method parenting coaching program, where we take this material and we apply it using my proven formula. Head over to cmp.works/join.